Wouldn't it be great if you could just walk into a shop and find an art style and buy it? Yeah. See, when I started out drawing, I used to just take a pen or a pencil and like draw whatever I wanted, and then that was it. But when I transitioned into digital art, I suddenly had access to all these brushes, to all the colors that a computer can render, all these different styles and techniques and layers and stuff, and I was absolutely so overwhelmed. I learned that artists are known for their styles and that I needed to choose a style, and I'm here to tell you that it's not that stressful. You don't have to decide on an art style. It's meant to come naturally to you, and it's not just about what you think looks good, it's also what makes you physically comfortable and what's fun for you to draw. You don't want to be like, this looks so good, but I'm in so much pain making it. You want to be more like, yay, this is so good, and I'm having so much fun drawing it. Rainbows. Unless you're one of those people who paints with their own blood. I used to struggle a lot with my art style. I could never draw a character twice. That's how inconsistent my art style was, and that's the biggest reason why I didn't draw a comic and still haven't. It's because once I drew a character and tried to recreate that character, they just ended up looking like two different people because I was so inconsistent with my style. And that was fine for a long time. I just drew whoever, just characters, I didn't give them names or anything. They were just like one-time OCs. But that started to get really sad and lonely. I started to feel this hole in my heart with all these one night stand OCs, I wanted to like settle down and find my style and like stroke it and hug it and kiss it to sleep every night, you know what I mean? So these past few years I've been trying to figure it out, and I think I'm getting there, and I just want to share a few things that worked for me. This mostly has to do with digital art. Not all of these tips will work for other mediums, but maybe some of them will. Okay, so let's first go through some major points that you probably want to consider. First of which being line art or no line art, or the sketch is my line art. On this part, I think it's a good idea to just kind of stop and think about what kind of artist you are. If you have a lot of patience, or if you're impatient like me and you just want to get the overall picture already. I used to struggle a lot with line art. I'm one of those people who would like take a really good sketch and then try to convert it into line art, and then it would just go downhill way into it looks like a blobfish, And the biggest reason why I attempted line art in the first place, despite not really being comfortable with it, is because I wanted to draw comics, and I knew that most webtoons, manhwa, manga, whatever, had really smooth, clean line art. So I thought that I also had to do line art. But I want to tell you now, you can throw all those practical logistics out the window. It doesn't matter. Just because the majority of artists draw their comics in clean line art doesn't mean that you have to. There's also a minority of artists who paint every panel, like Ulop or Yumi, Ulop, or artists with a very sort of abstract, sketchy style who still have very successful manga. That's probably a really niche worry, and maybe it's just me, but I thought I had to have really clean line art despite not being a line art person, so I gave up on line art. Nice. Like I have a few speed paints like this one, where you can see I'm sort of trialing this character for a visual novel, and the sketch looks better than the line art. Now I just kind of paint or sketch and whatever, and I render along the way. But of course, if you're the more patient type and you like the flow of the pencil and paper and you think it's quite satisfying to do line art, then by all means go ahead, it looks great. Or you could be a sort of in-betweener where you do like a rough sketch, and then on top of that you don't do quite line art, but you just kind of clean up the sketch a bit. That also works. Next, you probably want to sort of decide on anime or Western stylized or realistic. My art has a more anime feel to it, just because I'm a weeb. Just a note about the difference between anime and Western. Anime, or well, a lot of Asian cartoon styles for that matter, tend to focus a lot on the eyes, and they express through eyes, which is why anime characters have huge cute eyes, and everything else about them is pretty small. Like their mouth is small, noses are small, it's just bam, eyes, you know. For that matter, a mask in anime usually means it's covering their mouth, but a mask in Western styles usually means it's covering their eyes. And that's because the Western style tends to express more through their mouth. So eyes tend to be more simple and their mouths are quite big. And if you take a look at emojis and stuff as well, Asian ones tend to focus on the eyes and Western ones express through the mouth. I stole that from a Korean talk show. This point is pretty obvious, but take inspiration from your favourite artists. I took a lot of inspiration from my favourite artists, Yume and Lop and Cokes. But not only that, if you can find process videos where they paint at 1x speed, then that's probably going to be good practice for you. If you manage to find a speed paint and like slow it down a lot so that you can actually follow with what they're doing, each brush stroke, each when they add a new layer or something, you can kind of take inspiration and borrow this style. Don't just take at face value, like sped up process videos. They are hours and hours of work just compressed into like 10 seconds. You know, you can't actually see what they're doing, so if you can slow them down, or even better, just find a real-time video process, then I encourage you to go look at their techniques and borrow them. Next I want to talk about details and values. So as I mentioned, I'm pretty impatient, so when it comes to backgrounds and stuff that isn't the main focus of the picture, I just tend to like half-ass it. So if I have a nice main character and I have no idea what to do with the background, I'll just kind of splotch in a few random shapes here and there. Hey, it's a background. But if you're very detail oriented, then you can do all that crazy stuff. And there are plenty of artists who are known for the amount of detail they put into their art, so that would be pretty cool. Okay, for all the digital artists out there, it's gonna require a lot of experimentation because you have like all the resources that the internet can offer. So I just want to tell you, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to try and experiment. You literally have nothing to lose. You can have all the backups in the world, all the layers you could ever want. If layers don't work for you, like they didn't for me, just put it all into one layer. There's nothing wrong with that. You have all these software's tools at your disposal. It doesn't mean that you have to try and use all of them at once. You can like take it slow, experiment with each as you go along, and also you can back up whenever you want. If you feel like something's missing from the piece, just copy the layer and make something different, and then compare it with your backup. And depending on what you like, it's going to help your development. So you know, you're drawing like la-di-da-di-da, and then you're done. And after you're done, I want you to Marie Kondo this. I want you to think about which parts of the process brought you the most joy and the happiness and the ooh, this looks good. For example, for me it's the hair. I love drawing hair. When it goes wrong, I think I'm the most useless piece of rotten log in the universe. And when it goes great, I think I'm like Einstein level genius. But that's what makes me feel nice about myself and my art, and I want you to find something similar for you so that your style becomes like a comfort zone for you. Something that you can confidently do and draw, something that you can fall back on, and you know, if you're just feeling some sort of way, you can just draw that. Just express yourself. Here are some popular ones that people use as comfort drawings: flowers, dresses, mountains, clouds, fish, glowing things, reflections. Because reflections are bloody easy. Like, you just draw something and then you copy it, flip it, reflection, and it looks good. Art hacks in it, fam. So, moral of the story, find what makes you comfortable, find what you like drawing. Don't think about what anyone else tells you to do or what you think you should do. Just do what makes you feel good, what brings your brain serotonin, and what makes your hand flow and the creative juices flow. Like, it's art, you know? Why have we put so much restrictions on ourselves? I didn't even know what an art style was until I joined social media, and I was like, I need to have an art style. We don't need that stress in our lives, you know? It's meant to just come naturally to us. It's not something we're meant to go out and look for. Because, you know, no one expects you to just walk into a Subway and instantly order the perfect combination for the sandwich that you want. Like, you're gonna have to go in there at least a few times to decide which combination of flavours you like best. And what kind of bread you like, how toasted you want it, if you want olives or no olives, you know what I mean? Pick and mix, bros, there's nothing holding you back. Don't be like me and spend years and years being uncomfortable with the way I draw. It's not very fun, and it also makes you want to stop drawing for a while and not pick up the pen. Roll with it, have fun with it, let your hand do what it wants, draw what you want. Alright, thanks for watching, bye! I need the toilet. Oh my gosh, it's a watermelon!